a lot of big companies are starting to consolidate.
So I think companies have been doing it forever. I think one of the things is consolidation of data is huge. If they own all the data, I don't need the most expensive agents. Nobody's looking out for the individual real estate agent, which makes my heart a little sad.
How can agents, whether they're at those companies or not, be bulletproof in a transition like that, no matter what parent company does?
Oh, hey,
Hey,
they're here.
what's up?
Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. You're really going to like what you're going to watch.
Yeah.
If you haven't liked it yet, you should really hit that subscribe button.
Like, subscribe. We're gonna get untucked, and you should probably do it with us.
And if not, we're going to get all in your inbox.
Let's go.
All right, Wayne. So I feel like a lot of big companies are starting to consolidate. Well, I know they are. And I wonder if that's going to be a trend we're going to see continue in 26 and 27. I mean, specifically Anywhere Brands, which is ERA, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, Cochrane. There's probably others that I can't name right now that are now going to merge with Compass, their arch rival, for a couple $2 billion. That'll probably happen sometime in the next 3 quarters, right? Do you think they're doing this to, and you can wear your XP hat if you want to on this one, or you can stay neutral, but do you think they're doing this to combat the large EXPs, the up and coming Real, the major brands like that? Or what are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Man, I think 2 things. One is I think companies have been doing this since the beginning of time. We're just feeling it in real estate, right? Like if you want to stay at a Marriott hotel, by the way, there's 30 brands under Marriott. You know what I mean? But I'm probably staying at one of them because I'm going to the Marriott site. You know what I mean? So I think companies have been doing it forever. I think one of the things is consolidation of data is huge, right? If you pull the data from all those databases, all those sources, all those resources together, that's really, really powerful. And I think that they're realizing that in order for them to have some control, they've got to get bigger. They got to be able to swing a bigger stick in order to kind of fight off some of the other monopolies, whatever you want to call them, that are coming. So I think it's happening. I think that also a lot of brands have kind of lost their way and they're looking for someone to lead them. I saw a post from somebody at one company like, now these guys have got together. It's time for us to fight the big guy or whatever it is. And I was like, you guys were the big guy for 10 years and now you want to fight the big guy? Like, what do you want? It was all of a sudden they're like taking the underdog position. I was like, that's not a rallying cry. What do you think is the downside for agents? What do you think they need to watch out for, be cautious of?
That is a great question. I did a video a couple weeks back. I got some hater mail off of it. I mean, listen, companies don't buy or merge with other companies to not make money. So especially hedge funds, they take on companies because they see the upside of getting more money out of them. Mm-hmm. If not, like, why would they do it? Why would they take on something that they can't make more money? So throwing the question back at you like a boomerang, how can Compass / Anywhere make more money? They're going to have 370,000 agents. So you've already got those deals. Sure, they're going to have the plus minus agent count, but is it because they're going to keep everything in-house?
If they own all the data, I don't need the most expensive agents. Like if I own the data, if I know you're about to move before you know you're about to move, right? Like that gives me a lot of power as a company to plug and play and direct my marketing and everything else. So I think for agents, if you don't have the relationship and you don't have the personal brand, you will be smoked. Like you don't have a chance. You better have a deep relationship with your database. And you better have a badass personal brand, because you are not going to know as much as some of these other companies know about your people, right? It's just it's impossible with everything they have. So you better go deep. They better want to come to your coffee shop because that Sarah behind the counter goes, "Hey Dave, it's you. Do you want your special?" And you feel great because Sarah saw you and whatever it is. Because if you aren't that, they're going to go to Starbucks.
Yep. Yeah. I think so. I don't necessarily think it's going to be split. I don't think they're going to mess with splits or anything like that per se. I mean, they'll do some tweaks. But think about it, 370,000 agents. You make a minor adjustment that extrapolates fast. Yeah. I think they're going to bring in ancillary services like no other. Right? That's where you can really double, triple, quadruple down title, insurance, mortgage, right? I think the other thing that's going to end up happening too is, I don't know if people know this or not, if you don't pay attention to the news, and you won't, but Compass is I'm going to say anti-NAR, but they're anti-clear cooperation. So they want to have a siloed back end that their clients can list on without going on the MLS. I think it's a little bit of farce. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to get into the details, but they're saying get exclusive access to listings that aren't on the market, but they're also telling the listings, I'm paraphrasing here, do this because you'll get the highest and best amount out there. Well, you can't get both. you can't get exclusive access because you think you're going to get a deal because it's not listed. So my point is, I wonder if this is going to go against some of the agents' morals, like real estate morals.
So here's the thing, maybe, but we've been doing it forever, right? How often does a team say, hey, I've got a house coming up next week on this street. If you want information about it before I put it on the MLS, let me know. It's the same stuff. As a real estate team, you got 15 agents. You would much rather that transaction happen within your world than that transaction happens with somewhere else. You know, it's going to get done better. You're going to retain more of the commission. Yada, yada. Like we can get to the ethics all day long, but you don't get a point at Compass and say they're such a bad person, because most real estate teams, small, big, medium, whatever, has been doing this forever. They just figured out how to way to keep the whole pie at a much, much bigger scale.
Well, I think that's what's going to end up happening is people like me, if they end up doing that, right? They started shutting out small, like we don't have houses to show and sell. So I think there'll be some legal challenges there. I do think that it'll go through. They're not a monopoly. There's 2 million real estate agents, I think, in the United States plus. So they have 370,000. They don't have a majority. So there's not a monopoly. But I think it's.
But I agree with you. I think they're going to roll out benefits of doing it in-house, right? Like there's a reason I'll pay a little bit more for something on Amazon than I will wherever else. Because like, oh, this is my little world. Returns are easy. I don't pay for shit. Like I'm probably going to buy it in this world, because there's a lot, not everything, but most is here. And I think there's going to be some benefits, some other things like that it's somewhat inevitable. And I won't say all the other things that are on my mind because I don't want to get sued, but
Yeah. I think obviously I think this is a direct reaction to Redfin, Rocket, and Mr. Cooper all joining forces, right? And then on the other side, you've got CoStar, LoopNet, Homes.com, that area. They don't have a direct real estate arm yet. So the question is, who's the next one up with the portal? Because Compass is ripe for a portal now, direct to consumer, agents on staff, ready to rock and roll. I mean, in essence, it's the modern relocation company. Because back in the day, you'd do relocation with your company because it was guaranteed business. They took a shit ton of your money.
And you stayed in that world because there were benefits and reasons for not hiring an agent outside of the relocation world that you were saying. And I think we're going to see a similar thing. Yep.
So you think EXP is going to buy Keller Williams or Keller Williams is going to buy? Yeah, I was kidding. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
Hey, KW already sold out. They're gonna milk that horse for another couple of years and let it die. And they're gonna sell them out to somebody within the next several years, I believe. Not in a bad thing. They're growing. They're changing. It's just a different. They got bought by a bunch of investors. Investors like to make money, so the model's going to change. I think the one thing that concerns me, however you want to say it, nobody's looking out for the individual agent, right? Like NAR's not looking out for him. Zill's not looking out for him. Compass, nobody's looking out for the individual real estate agent, which makes my heart a little sad. Yet the reality is we just need to embrace it, right? NAR's not looking to protect you as an individual agent. Compass is not looking to necessarily protect you as an individual. Just because, and I'd love for you and I to fight on that, they've consistently given up our keys to the kingdom and made it harder for what used to be our values, if that makes sense. So I think as agents, you got to figure out what's my value? How do I reinvent myself? How do I offer more? How do I stand out? And building your personal brand and developing deep database, et cetera, relationships is key.
So actually, so let's wrap it up with that question there. How can agents, whether they're at those companies or not, be bulletproof in a transition like that, no matter what parent company does?
Great question.